Mr. Freeze.
Some characters are, you know, there's not a lot there to work with in their original state. In the comics with Mr. Freeze, we had a kind of a cool name and a guy in a walking refrigerator. In thinking about the character, Bruce and I decided maybe there's some great tragedy in his life that basically killed him emotionally, and so he's just a shell of a man, maybe going for, you know, for vengeance because he grieves for a great loss.
Our first design on Mr. Freeze, going back to the very beginning of Batman the Animated Series, I had contacted Mike Mignola, who was a really well-known comic book artist. This was before he became famous for Hellboy. And he came up with this really, really severely retro-looking Mr. Freeze design, which looked like this old-school-looking, you know, almost robot suit.
We did a revamp. We wanted to tweak him a bit. Sub-Zero had been done, and essentially sort of took away his motivation by curing his wife. So we kind of decided to cut off his head and make him a robot.
So we thought if we were going to bring Mr. Freeze back again, we had to give him all new motivation. It became about the fact that, you know, he's separated from his wife now. You know, she's alive, but he's a monster now, and he can never be with her. So it became all about him just hating everybody and hating everything and destroying everything that everybody loves, you know, so that they could feel the same amount of pain that he feels. I thought this was all good stuff. This was all good story material. So, and of course, we had to go back and redesign his costume again. And it's still kind of retro, but it's a little bit slicker, like we did with a lot of the revamped characters. We put a lot more black on it.
We're sensitive to him because he had love, he had emotion, he had all these feelings, and they were taken from him. And he so desires to have them back, and yet has no capability to actually feel them.
Up until the time we were doing Batman Beyond, you know, we were always found a different way of going with him, and it was always fun to revisit Mr. Freeze and see what he was up to.
There's no hope for me, or you, or your city. Everyone's going to feel my loss.